Hey, what's up, everybody? Navid is here. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur and creator of Virtual Summit Mastery, and we help people just like you exponentially grow your email list, influence, and revenue. And for this session, we are going to talk about how you can grow your email list by using some organic strategies and specifically by leveraging social media. And my guest today, she's amazing at this. Her name is Rachel Pedersen, and she's the founder of an award-winning social media marketing agency called the Viral Touch, and she's also the founder of Social Media United, which is a great membership community. And we connected through kind of the ClickFunnels community, I think a few years ago. We haven't really kind of connected in, kind of like this, but I'm really impressed with what she's done, and I've seen her posts sometimes go viral or semi-viral on social media and different platforms, and she's kind of on the cutting edge. That's why people tend to call her the queen of social media, and she's pretty amazing at what she's doing, as I mentioned here. So we're gonna break down also specifically some strategies, how you can implement this, and also how she got over 700 email subscribers sign up via just one post in a private Facebook group. And then we'll get into some other strategies as well, how you can use some of this stuff. But I'm really excited to dive in. So warm welcome, Rachel.
Navid, thank you so much for having me. I'm stoked to be here.
Absolutely. So why did we kind of start a little bit kind of the background if people haven't kind of heard about you, if they're new to you? Where did you start? Was it always like this with this kind of all this growth and all this kind of like online fame, as we can call it, right? I mean, you can go viral. That's really cool, right? And having this organic growth, and also I know you're big on paid too, but for this one specifically, you're gonna talk about kind of the organic side of things. So where did it start for you, and were you always focused on the email list building side of things as well?
Great question. So my story actually starts about, oh my gosh, 7 years ago. And I was a single mom on welfare. I know everyone always hears those stories and they're like, yeah, right, that can't actually be real. But that was actually my story. I was a single mom, a hairstylist, and I didn't really know much about social media or even marketing. I was a college dropout. All I knew is that when I posted on social media, something worked and I started to book clients. So after I met my husband and we started to build our family, I realized that I wanted to pursue something that I loved, and that was social media. I was finding kind of that it was taking off with my business as a hairstylist, and I realized that was what I was truly passionate about. And everything kind of took off really fast. And what's so funny about kind of like my growth over the last 3.5 years is that it all kind of started with organic and just running social media organically for clients, learning how to secure clients organically. And that simply came from necessity. We didn't have a big budget for ads. Really, we had no budget for ads. So I had to figure out what worked, how to build relationships, how to network, how to get clients, how to get engagement. And it felt like my back was up against a wall. And so I was determined to make it happen. About
Yeah.
3 years ago, I wrote a post and I looked at my husband and I said, that's the one that's going to go viral. That is the post. And of course, everyone has that hope. And you know how we all kind of laugh, like, okay, I'm sure it'll go viral. But I put just about $20 behind it because that was all we could really gamble towards a Facebook post that we didn't know what in the world was going to happen. And it started to pick up traction. And over the first week, it reached about 60,000 people, which was so much more than my audience. My audience was teeny tiny, just a couple hundred people that were my close friends from over the years. And then it started to continue picking up traction. And before you know it, I woke up one morning and it had reached 11.3 million people
Oh my God.
before the
Yeah.
news picked it up and celebrities started sharing it. So that was
That's
kind of my
crazy.
start in social media.
That's insane. Like so many people, and how did that just happen? Like in terms of, I mean, you didn't have the biggest following by at that stage, right? Now you have a bigger following and email list and all this. But at that stage, what do you think what was the ingredients of that amazing post that just kind of went viral? And is that something you can kind of replicate or have done over the years as well, to do this multiple times as well for yourself and clients?
Oh, I love that question. So, my passion for social media started even before I was a hairstylist. Back when I was about 19 years old, we could even rewind it further than back than that. I loved MySpace early on and learned
Wow.
how to
I was on
code.
MySpace too. I was on
I
MySpace.
loved MySpace. I loved the music. I loved coding my profile, learning how
Yeah.
to do that myself. And so when I was about 19, I hopped onto Twitter. And one of the things that I loved about Twitter was that I could reach out directly to reality TV stars, producers, celebrities, and sometimes they would reply. And that really caught my attention, especially where we were at in life. You know, we were living paycheck to paycheck. I was not on a track to end up successful or known or anything like that. I was a college dropout, but I had all of these reality stars and small, like D-list celebrities retweeting me and responding to me. And I actually built a relationship with one of the producers of The Bachelor, and her and I corresponded via email for years. And what I learned during that time is that one of the greatest gifts you can acquire in life is the skill of not just creating attention, but understanding how to harness it. And
Yeah.
so that learning of how to grab attention and maintain attention, essentially harnessing it, was kind of where I had my first training ground in what works on social. And so I
Uh,
continued to study and see what was working for people and what wasn't, and kind of came up with the ability to grab attention.
yeah. I mean that's obviously very important in marketing to learn how to do that. But I think it's kind of this thing, like some people I see, they are like, kind of the Instagram influencers and stuff like that, and to some extent also the YouTubers, right? They are not really focusing too much on kind of also email lists, because you own your email list, you don't own what's on social. So how did you kind of learn and finding that balance, and I guess having some kind of offer that you like a lead magnet or something? Was that initially, or were you first learning that, okay, I went viral and now we kind of replicate that process? Or did you initially also have something to offer people so they actually get onto your email list, which is something you own and you can sell them over and over again and develop this relationship, which I think is the most important thing you have?
Yeah, so the very first foray I had into entrepreneurship, even kind of realizing it was a thing, was listening to Amy Porterfield's podcast, Online Marketing Made Easy. And she preaches over and over and over again, build your list. And thankfully, I listened to that from the very beginning. So even when I had like the free apps on my website to collect emails and MailChimp, and none of the
Yeah.
automations were in place. So I had to like manually upload people and send it to people in campaigns. I built my list from the very beginning, even with at that time hideous lead magnets and freebies. But I did the best that I could with the skills and knowledge that I had, and then continued to upgrade it. And once I went viral, there was a pretty simple case study that everyone kind of wanted, and that was how I went viral on social media.
Yeah, I mean that's a good one, obviously, to kind of you do something well and then basically sharing it with others and put that together. So let's talk about kind of that strategy, I guess. Is that, I mean, can you do this on any platform, or is it mainly like Facebook that you're kind of focused on? Or because the strategy we're going to talk about was specifically for a Facebook post that you got over 700 emails from, so that we can, I guess, break that down. But I mean, do you have all platforms? Is that a replica? Can you replicate that on any platform as well?
Great question. So there's such different strategies for going viral or mini viral on different platforms. Facebook is one of the only platforms where you can not easily, but more simply go viral, because the true definition of viral is 10 million reached, mostly organically, within 1 week. So it's kind of strict. And so my formula relates to Facebook, but I've also had content go mini viral because it's not true viral
Yeah.
on other platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, Quora, and even, as crazy as this sounds, TikTok.
Oh yeah, I've seen you actually do some stuff on that platform. I mean, I'm definitely not on there, but I see some people like commenting. I guess you were one of the first ones kind of coming on, at least from the marketing space, to kind of testing this out a little bit. So that's pretty exciting. I'm not sure how that's going now, but I mean, it's pretty. It sounds pretty fun, at least for if your target audience is hanging out there. I know you have kids and stuff like that, so for you, I guess, it makes
Mhm.
sense to kind of bring them in there and have fun and stuff like that. So I don't know if I would go on there, but maybe I'm missing out. I'm not sure.
I will say what I love about TikTok so much is that it's completely different than any other platform. It's very similar to Vine, rest in peace, Vine,
Mm,
and it's formerly Musically. What I love about TikTok for me, and this isn't true for everyone, it causes it, let me rephrase that, it forces me to step outside of my comfort zone and what is safe and reimagine things and come up with crazy antics and all kinds of stuff. And my goal with TikTok was to learn how to create consistently in a way that isn't the same as every other platform. Also, I didn't bring over a massive audience to TikTok. I built my audience on TikTok from the ground up. I wanted to learn how to capture new attention, almost as if I was starting over completely from scratch. And I have friends who have monetized TikTok, but for me, the purpose was understanding how does a totally foreign to me platform work and how can I learn to master it. And I will say, I'm 30 years old and I have 3 kids, and I don't exactly feel like cool anymore. And it's a very cool, trendy
yeah.
platform. And so it pushes me and it stretches me. And that's what I love about TikTok, at least for me. But that's not right for everyone. And for a lot of people, TikTok is a distraction unless you understand how to use it to build your
Yeah.
list and monetize.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean that's definitely maybe maybe some people haven't known. Let us know in the comments as well if you're watching this. Let us know if you've used that platform. Maybe it's new to you. Test it out. Maybe if you kind of resonate with Rachel, maybe that's a good fit for you. At least to kind of test it out and jump on there. But I wanted to get into kind of this post that really kind of I wouldn't call this like what do you call this mini viral, right? I mean you had 700 or so email subscribers, so did it go viral to get those email subscribers, and where did you post this as well? I think I want to break down kind of step by step what you did and see if people can kind of replicate some of this at least for their platform as well.
Absolutely. So, this post that we are dissecting was posted inside of my free group. And there's about 19,000 people in my free group, which is great in theory until you realize that just posting in a group without understanding how to get and harness attention doesn't mean anything. It can fall on deaf ears completely. And one thing that's so interesting about groups is a lot of times people will try to promote or build up hype about something in a group, and they'll post a link to something and then it disappears within just a couple hours. It's already gone. And so my goal with this post was to make sure that as many people in my group would see it as humanly possible. And I know how it's called kind of like a comment ladder, where you get people to comment if they want access to whatever it is. There's a fascinating quote. I actually think it's from Game of Thrones. And it says, when you build a wall, suddenly your neighbors want to know what's on the other side. And so when you build a wall with information, it makes people curious what is on the other side. And even I myself, and you probably experience this too, when
Yep.
someone says like I've got something and I'm not going to give you what the secret or the key is, it grabs our
Yes.
attention and you're like, should I
Yeah.
comment yes on this, because I just want to know and I don't even know if I need it or if I value it.
Yes.
I just have to know. True?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I see this a lot, but also wanted to ask you, isn't Facebook a little bit cranking down on this, or like, or is it still working extremely well? I mean, I've seen for live stream people like ask, hey, comment below. Yes. I mean, I also see some people saying maybe they should comment why they want that thing, and you get even more real engagement. I don't know if you've tested that as well. Why do you want this? Because then you also get more real engagement, and also you're getting the comment, and they can send them that thing. That's something I'm kind of gonna experiment with a little bit myself to see test kind of both ways.
I will say that I've noticed that Facebook doesn't seem to penalize it. At least this is my experience for myself and for my clients. They
Yep.
don't seem to penalize it as long as the overall experience is a positive one. If
Got it.
you are a spammer or a scammer or someone who is just, taking the low hanging fruit. For example, comment yes if you agree, and it's a post about like spirituality or
Oh yeah.
something about politics. That doesn't enhance everyone's experience. But if people are amped up about something, they're super excited, people are engaging like crazy, Facebook doesn't mind as much. Now with live streams, the big change that happened is that if you ask people to comment below on a video and they're commenting below with like one word, or they pick up that you're saying that, you're no longer going to get kind of the go-go juice that Facebook gives Facebook Lives. And I will
Yeah,
say
that's
the
what I
reason it
heard.
hasn't
Yeah.
affected, exactly, and the reason that hasn't affected us yet is because when we do Facebook Lives with a comment call to action, we don't rely on the organic side of it. We just right away put some paid ad spend behind it. And that seems to eliminate all of the problems. Facebook likes
Yeah.
people who spend a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean that's that makes total sense. And I think like is it usually like when you want people, let's say, to get that thing delivered via bot, messenger bot or something, you comment, but you can also like do it if you do a live stream and you want to get that, you can also tell them why do you want that thing. Or I mean, usually it's like you comment anything and you get that thing, right? That's kind of what I've seen some
Yeah.
people. I've tested it. Like test to comment whatever, and I still get that thing delivered. So they want to get you obviously on the messenger list. So that's I guess sometimes it's okay, sometimes not. I mean, depends a little bit how you do it. If the overall experience, as you said, is a positive one, it can still work. So let's continue kind of breaking down what you did for that post. That was not a live stream or anything. It was just kind of a post that you. Can you break down what you said in that post and kind of how it was structured and why you got kind of so much engagement beyond kind of just kind of the question and stuff like that? What was it that you offered?
Yeah, absolutely. So I put this post in my free Facebook group, and I can just read the very first line because the first line is powerful. Now, what happened before this was I started to dive into TikTok, and there wasn't a marketing strategy behind me diving into TikTok and sharing with people what I was finding. As crazy as that sounds, I was just sharing how excited I was that certain things were happening. So I did this like silly video to Bye by NSYNC, and it went kind of crazy and got like 30,000 views when I only had, I think, like 6 followers or something insane like that. And so
Wow.
I was super intrigued, and I started letting people in on the behind the scenes as I built my TikTok platform. And so I started to kind of share that and give sneak peeks and just kind of say like, oh my gosh, this video got 490 likes. I haven't seen these numbers organically anywhere in a while. That's not the norm unless you have a massive following. And I still don't have a massive following, but by TikTok standards, it's a decent following.
Right.
So I had already preceded some interest, and there was no marketing intent behind it. It was just, oh my gosh, this is really exciting. Let me show you guys what I'm doing and what's working. So the very first line of my post was, so you're not on TikTok yet? And then that very first line, that's actually the key to organic strategy. It hooks people in. It needs to make people say, why are you opening this loop? And make them feel like you know something that they don't know. And that's what hooks somebody in to a post organically, is that very first line. Kind of cool,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is really awesome. I mean, you basically discovered something on a platform, then go into your group and sharing. I mean, that's kind of, I guess, why a lot of people call you the queen of social media, right? You're testing and doing a lot of
Always.
things on social media and then bringing it to your audience, to your members and clients and stuff like that. I mean, that's kind of the way it should be, right? It's what we are doing with virtual summits. We are doing our own. We are actually behind the scenes of some bigger summits. And then we are doing like in our community and bringing it back to our virtual summit mastery students and sharing. And that's kind of stuff is valuable to people. They want that. And same with what you did, right? That they are exciting about this. And I guess that's kind of why it worked well. But beyond that, you put together, I guess, some kind of cool offer, or what was that thing that people so deeply wanted to grab? So they gave you their email list from it. Maybe you had some. I don't know if all of them were new email subscribers on your list. If that's from your group, it's kind of fantastic to bring them over in that way so quickly to your email list with just kind of one post like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So from there it said, so I'll recap the first line again, because the first line is everything. If you
Yeah.
can't if you can't snag somebody's attention right there in the first line, you've already lost them.
Yeah.
So it said, so you're not on TikTok yet. Well, let me tell you, I've grown from 2,600 followers to 5,100 plus followers in 1 week. But Rachel, how do I monetize it? Are you ready for this? My good friend Ryan, who is a real estate mentor, used TikTok to bring his mentorship business from 4 figures per month to 107,000 just in January of this year. How is that for monetization? He put together a free training for any of my friends who want it. And he's the one who taught me how to explode my growth on TikTok. Who wants this free training? Comment TikTok below. That's
That's
it.
so good. That's so, I mean, I want that. I'm really excited. I mean,
Oh
I
my
want
gosh.
this. Now you sold me on this here, Rachel. That's good. I mean, I'm not a realist, but yeah, you can see how this can work, right? You basically showing something completely different, something more professional, an industry, and they are going on TikTok, and you actually got taught by that person how to leverage as well. I mean, very powerful. So then they gave you their email list, and that was basically a training. It was a video training you gave people when they kind of opted in. And what did that was? It just a landing page, people opted and gave you the email, and then you delivered the training afterwards. So how did that work?
Yep. So my friend Ryan is the one who actually delivered the training on TikTok. He truly is the one who taught me exactly what to do on TikTok and helped me to explode my growth massively in a month. It was crazy. And so I never share opportunities of anything that I don't truly believe in. And I saw him get these massive results for himself, and then he helped me to get those results. So I was excited to share it.
Yeah.
And then they delivered the training from there, which was, I mean, it was pretty cool because I was hoping to get, 100 people who were interested. And within 24 hours, we had more than 700 emails collected of people who were excited about the training.
Yeah, was that kind of like a partnership, or was that kind of onto his list you promoted like as a kind of like a partnership offer, or was that kind of growing it to your own email list, and basically that's how you delivered the training, like when they had signed up to your, and you basically set up all this the automated way?
So we did a joint venture on the back end. The
I
front
see.
end grew both of our email lists. So
Okay.
the front end was just the free training, which was awesome. It was the exact training that I went through that helped me to explode my growth. And then on the back end, it was his offer because I'm not going to create an offer ever for TikTok. I know when to stay my lane, and that's not
Yeah.
my area of expertise. I just found some things that work on there from
Yeah.
Ryan's training. So
Yeah.
on the front end, we both were able to grow our email lists there. And I've done this before. Now, I will say, Navid, that this is so important. Anytime someone says, like, I'm trying to grow my email list organically and it's not working, just like anything else, you can give up and stop trying. But the reason that I discovered to make it work on social and how to make it work is out of necessity. And when you have been through a lot in your life, you suddenly have this newfound motivation to find a way no matter what. And so if something I put out there, and by the way, I put stuff out there all the time that doesn't work. And I'm not scared to admit that. Like there's stuff I put out there that completely flops, posts that don't get any engagement. And so when you are committed to it, you'll keep finding a way. You'll keep studying what's working. You'll grab the old classic marketing mentors and books and dive in until you figure out what
Mhm.
works. And that was how I discovered that organic social media was still just as powerful as ever.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of get into like, well, how can someone, I guess if they don't have that, I mean, you said it's not so important to have like 19,000 people in a Facebook group, but can this strategy kind of be used on your profile, on your Facebook page, or elsewhere? Like, let's say you don't even have big a following. Is that a great way? I mean, I can see this for myself, kind of using now as a compliment. I have an email list, I have an audience and stuff like that, but like just kind of randomly, let's say I have a freebie I want to launch. I can like post on Facebook or in kind of my group and say something around this, and I'll get some engagement similar to what you did. But if you don't have that following, how do you do that? Like, where would you start in that case?
So, two things. First, I'll answer the question and then I'll give you the remedy to that because you just have to do this. So, first and foremost, you can actually oftentimes use other people's platforms to secure kind of opportunities. So, when I started, I didn't have any following, I didn't have anybody who was paying attention or who even knew who I was. I mean, if you Googled Rachel Pedersen, nothing came up except for like a girl who runs track in, I think, Iowa. And
That's
so
funny.
I would go into other people's groups. And when they had the promote your awesome offer, those days where there was those posts, I used that at first to capture emails. ethically, morally okay. Everything was fine. And when everyone's posting all of their amazing offers, you have to stand out, and it has to be juicy, and you have to get attention, especially when there's sometimes a couple hundred comments on those posts.
Yeah.
So I would craft the absolute best comment I knew how and create my offer based on what they were allowing us to offer. And I grew my email list at first just by doing that. So that's the answer to the first question. But the next part of it is the unasked question, which is, if you don't have a platform, when is the right time to start? Now, here, today, yesterday.
Exactly.
Start as soon as you're watching this. Every single person needs to start building their platform, building their email list, building their own audience so that you can truly create the impact that you want. It has to start at some point. And I thought I was too late to the game. Not even close. There are people who have built their audiences over the last few months and exploded successful businesses. So start yesterday, today. As soon as you watch
Yes.
this, listen to everything Navid says and do it.
Yeah, I love this. And this is actually a great tip I see in these groups. But again, most people are just spamming, I think, in these groups. And even though it's like, okay, it's okay to post there, like ClickFunnels, they have it. I mean, sure, most groups, they got these things. And kind of most industries, I would say, they maybe have something like this where you can like promote yourself. But then, as you said, you got to hook people in. You got to draw people in what you are doing. Otherwise, no one will pay attention if there's a few hundred posts there. So that you're going to have something good, right? And that's kind of, comes down to maybe having a good offer, lead magnet, whatever you have created. So kind of get really clear on your message, I think, to have something good to offer. And then obviously spreading yourself, like I could see this working even well for kind of summits, what you share. Like if you have a good summit coming out, or like you put together a great lead magnet, then you can use this organic strategy actually to get maybe a few hundred new leads that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise, like by posting on social media, on your profile, on Facebook groups, if you have that, on your fan page, to kind of get them to comment, right? Similar strategy, and then get them to sign up. I think this is pretty powerful and kind of underutilized by most people, I think. But obviously for you, as you heard here, working very well to do that. Is there anything else people should think about when it comes to this thing so they do it the right way?
For sure. So if you use organic social media to grow your email list, think about ways that you can simplify the process down the road. Now, this is for anyone where time is more important than money. So if you're still in the building phase, obviously money is not something you can just throw out everywhere. But if you're in a place where you're like, okay, my time is what's most important to me, consider putting one of these posts on your page so you can set up a ManyChat bot to automate the responses of delivering the lead magnet, the offer, the training, the webinar. When we did this with actually a very direct response call to action that led people to a sales page for one of my clients, we generated nearly $1 million with one of the most simple posts ever. I'll send it to you after this,
Yeah.
Navid, because it is so powerful. And sometimes people think that those things can't be effective, but they work so well. And so ManyChat is a great way, once you want to get your time back, to automate the process of following up with everybody.
That's so cool. Can you break that? I mean, I don't know how much you can share on this, but can you break that down a little bit, what that looked like? I mean, you said it was the kind of a bot involved in this. You had like a post on the fan page. Anything else kind of you did that, and what industry and stuff like that? Can you break that down a little bit for us to people get a little bit insight into this? And then we'll link up the post as well so you can check that out if it's public still. So for sure.
Yeah, so we did it in the health and wellness kind of weight loss space, but we've done it for several different clients. This particular set of posts, it was a trio of posts that were so simple. What worked so well with them is that we studied the language that the target market was using. And sometimes that can be hard for marketers. We want to use the language that we see around us. And sometimes that's a little bit too, not intellectual, but intellectually heavy. When the majority of markets are on Facebook to get away from intellectually heavy conversations, and you need to grab their attention with something. Imagine they've already had a glass of wine, they're exhausted from the day, their kids are running around, avoiding bedtime. And if you can grab their attention in 3 seconds and it's clear what benefit you're going to bring to their life, It is such a game changer. So I don't know that I can share the posts. I'll share them with you and you can kind of share some thoughts that you have after you see them.
Yeah,
But they're
sure.
so much more, yeah, they're so much more simple than most people would assume. So it's kind of an unassuming post that generated $1 million in revenue, which is insane.
Yeah, and was that the kind of just drive? What was the offer like? Driving people like to this? People get obviously when they comment or something, they get the bot sequence. What was kind of the next step in that kind of simple, I guess, funnel in that case?
So I'm a big fan of simple. I don't like overcomplicating things most of the time. And so it's so simple. I feel like most marketers would just be really upset that I'm even being honest about this. It was
Yeah,
this simple. Comment like hope below or whatever the keyword was. But of course, we set it up so no matter what word you commented with, because people
yeah,
can't spell to save their lives,
sure.
whatever word you commented with triggered the bot. And it just simply said, if you're looking to make these changes and you're this person, this is right for you. Click here to join now. And then it brought them to a sales page for this $47 offer. It was that simple. No extended follow up
Holy
besides
shit.
some remarketing ads down the road. It was literally as simple as it gets.
Just if you're, I mean, you're very transparent about this, that's awesome. And I was that from that. Just kind of curious. Was that $1 million from that one product, or was that kind of their funnel? Like they had some upsells and stuff like that as well. They must have gotten a lot of customers in that case to get that
Oh, yeah.
$47 product. But was that only that one, or was there something else involved?
Great question. There were just a couple of small upsells in the funnel. I think the average cart value is about $67 or $69, right
Okay.
around there. And then the lifetime value of a customer was around $160.
Wow.
So that particular client, we grew from 300,000 a year in revenue before they came to work with us to just a year and a half later closing out $3 million in sales in a year. And we just finished their most recent launch with that trio of ads that were the organic posts generating most of the revenue. And we generated about $420,000 in revenue with only about $140,000 in ad spend.
Amazing. And are you allowed to share how big their audience was? Because I'm sure the audience is gonna ask, how big were they? They're gonna think there was like a massive. They must have had some kind of following, right, to get there. But still amazing, right, from that simple funnel to get such
Yep.
big results. So what was their following like to get kind of there?
I love this question. So when the client first started working with us, they had an audience of about 600 people, maybe an email list of about the same size. They had just they ran their first ad and got their ad account shut down. So everything was pretty small when they first started working with us. And incrementally, every single month, we just kept growing and just kept building an audience all the time with what I call the 3-tier ad strategy, which I believe is like the solution to everything with ads.
Yeah,
But we just kept growing it. And so by the time we just did that 400 and oh my gosh, I have to break down all the numbers or look at it one more time. But
it's
it's
okay.
late at night and I'm like, oh, maybe I need some coffee or maybe I need to go to bed, one of the two.
It's all good.
But closing out over 400,000 in revenue in 1 month. Now her audience size is about 35,000 on her Facebook page and maybe about
Okay.
30,000 on her email list. And
Okay.
the crazy part is about 18,000 of the people on her email list are purchasers. So it's a
Holy
very
shit, that's
direct,
amazing. That's
it's
amazing. Great
crazy.
job. I
Very
just want to
direct.
give you the credit here. I mean,
Thank
that's
you.
amazing. I
Thank
mean,
you.
we have a very high also for kind of the summits we are doing, like getting very high lifetime value. I think that's something both of us we look at. I want to have a great relationship with my list. So I'm looking at the kind of the lifetime value and see how we can increase that over time and getting a high conversion rate and just kind of getting like a big numbers of hundreds of thousands of people and no one buys. I think I read recently, I think that came up kind of someone on Instagram had with like 2.5, you probably saw this, like 2.5
Yes.
million
Oh
followers
my
and couldn't sell any t-shirts, like 30 t-shirts, they couldn't even sell that. So the followers doesn't really matter as much as like actually having the buyers on your list. I think that's the most important
God.
thing you got to focus on. So obviously that worked very well for your strategy. I mean, that's amazing. 18,000 buyers and then having not too big of an audience. It's like 30,000 on the list and 35,000 on a Facebook page. That's a good audience, but still getting those numbers, that's incredible. So good job on that.
Thank you so much. I think part of the reason that there was such a high percentage of customers is because we went straight for purchase is the goal. We
Yeah.
didn't build a list and then sell to the list. We just were like, here's the
Yeah.
offer, buy or don't. And
Yeah.
that worked really well for her.
Yeah, I mean, I love this myself because that's what we do with summits. People sign up and they get prompted to get an offer. We increasing the cart value by having maybe a one-click upsell and bump offer and stuff like that. So initially, you're getting actually a bunch of buyers. So a similar way, actually, kind of like a free plus shipping offer in a way to kind of increasing the lifetime value and cart value immediately. But I wanted to see if there's any other things you're doing when it comes to organic, that kind of any other kind of ninja tricks you have in your books that people can kind of implement and they'll like be blown away by the results if they implement these things.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I feel like I couldn't even recap them all here if I tried. Is
You
it okay if I
should
give
put
your
yeah,
audience?
give it in a PDF or something, like some of them. Share a few here so people can, like, because we
Perfect.
don't want to overwhelm, right? So get a few so people can take action, and maybe if you have a bunch of other
Beautiful.
ones, you can put them in a PDF and people can download this. I put it below this video as well.
Beautiful. So a couple things that I love to do, and it's tough because everyone's going to sell you like this idea of there's this one simple trick. And the truth of social media success is that there isn't just one simple trick. It's the foundations of delivering value. And everyone's like, oh, I hear that all the time. It's so true. Delivering true value, giving people your best kind of thoughts. It's part of the reason I think why you've had so much success is because you lead with so much value, whether they're buying for the first time or the 10th time. There's tons of value in everything you do, Navid. And that's
Yeah.
one thing that I think is huge. Another is being consistent. So when people abandon a group or abandon a list or abandon a platform, they assume that the next post that they put out there is going to perform just because they put their heart and soul into it. But it's almost like a friendship. You don't just come to a friendship and suddenly be like, oh my gosh, I just got you all this stuff and are we good now? You want to keep building the relationship with consistency. And then there's one thing that's been really helpful to me, and we're pretty good at it. I will say we've spent a lot of time focusing on our clients' audiences and their growth and their results over my own, sometimes to a fault. But I'm very excited because we're really focusing on my social hardcore now this year. But when you post something and people leave comments, reply back as soon as humanly possible. And there's several different things I like to do. Number one, I like to reply back with at least a 4-word response with a real sentence so that they know this is actually Rachel or someone who's like sitting right by Rachel. This isn't something that's delegated to a bot or a VA. And I like to ask people follow-up questions to keep the conversation going so that they know I'm not just here to get your like. I'm here to
Yeah.
get your like love over time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this has been awesome so far. I mean, I'm excited to implement some of this because I wanted to ask you about the consistency piece. That's what
Mhm.
a lot of people, they struggle with this. How can you get consistent? Because initially you're probably not gonna get so much traction. Even you mentioned that you not every post will be a home run, and then it will take a while until you get going like mini viral or even really big viral, right? But so how do you actually do this? Do you have any kind of strategies for doing this or any kind of systems that you implement for you yourself and for your clients that you can share with people here?
Yeah, so we have several different systems we use for our clients. Mostly we use it's a whole Trello system where
Yeah.
there's a certain number of posts on every single platform so that we know, okay, this is our checklist for the day, for the week, for the month to make sure we hit all of our targets. And it's totally different from client to client. Some clients, their audience will respond well to one post per day. We have some clients that will respond to their audience responds to 10 posts per day, which is a lot more than most people think is even acceptable, but it actually can perform really well. For
Mm.
myself, what I do, because as you probably know, sometimes it's really hard to do everything for ourselves. I
Yeah.
actually have over here on this desk across from me is an entire post-it note system. And there's my daily, weekly, and monthly action steps for every single piece of my marketing because I'm very old school when it comes to like my lists, my not my email list, my list for like what to do.
I see.
I'm very visual. I like to actually like move things and feel like I got a sense of that progress when I move a post-it note from to be done to finished, that's really has worked well for me. So it says like Instagram story 1, Instagram story 2, Instagram story 3 for every single day. Tweet 1, tweet 2, tweet 3. And if it's not on a post-it note, it doesn't happen because I can't see it every time I walk over here. So literally, if I have 5 minutes free in my day, I walk on over and I say, what can I do in 5 minutes? Okay, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to move it over here right now. Done. And that works so well for me that I wouldn't trade it for the best software in the world.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You're gonna find what works for you. I mean, I think Trello is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I've also seen kind of Ping Jun. He's doing this with the content multiplier,
Mm-hmm.
pretty good as well. So which is really good as well. I think that's kind of similar. But he batching the process. That's what something I wanted to ask you. Do you batch everything to actually create this in advance so you can have this system? I
Mm-hmm.
know he basically creates it a few months in
Yep.
advance and spends like 1 day shooting videos, and then he basically has this system. So he only does the videos, then his team takes care of the rest. He transcribes it, and then it's like this process, and then it just goes out on
Yep.
all the platforms magically because he has this team, right? So I was curious to know if you're doing something similar or if you found something that kind of works for you around this.
Great question. So I will say that batching works as long as you have either time available in your schedule to finish and see it through to completion, because there's a lot of steps involved from taking all of the content creation to actually getting it broken down, transcribed, edited, and scheduled. That works, like I said, if you have a lot of time or if you have a lot of team. Now, if you don't have either of those things available, at least for this season of life, it might make sense to follow a system like what I do. But we do a combination of batching and real time. I really like real time for a lot of reasons. And I could probably break all of those down at some point, but
Sure.
it's mostly for me because it keeps me inspired, active, learning, searching. My goal is not to be set it and forget it with anything that I do. Well, that does help and augment the process. I love knowing that something I'm going through in a week is going to become a lesson on social media the next few days once I find the gift in it. For me, it's incredibly powerful to turn back and give gifts to people based on what I've just gone through. So I like both, but like I said, it does take a lot of time or a lot of team to batch content and then see it through to completion. We oftentimes batch our videos for YouTube. We're trying, at least testing for a little bit, what it looks like to go into real-time video where we create them every single week. We have a videographer that comes to my house once a week. And so we'll see how that goes. But I really like the idea of having a combination of batched, kind of cataloged content and then also the real-time, in the moment inspired content.
Yeah, I kind of like that, especially when you're starting out, because you're not gonna only upload things to like Instagram stories. You're gonna do something in real time. That's kind of the raw feeling of it. To kind of you can go live on Instagram Live or Facebook and stuff like that. That's kind of in the moment. Of course, you can plan this out so you know what you're gonna say if you're new, not coming out and you don't know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. That's kind of makes sense. But at least you're in the moment and you're doing this, and then you can have some pre-planned. I guess that's a good approach, and then kind of planning out as you go. You can get more advanced with this as well, obviously. So I mean, there's so much around this, but I think also like how do you know like when you're doing these kind of bait posts where you actually want to grow your list, and like how do you kind of have that balance between that where you grow your list and also kind of the other posts where you maybe do a video, or do you always try to aim for list growth in your social media?
Great question. Over the last year, I definitely slacked in intentionally building my list. Well, my list did grow. I think it actually almost doubled over the last year, just because of the ads we run, because of the constant content that we always have going out. It wasn't what felt like a major focus of mine because I had a baby about a year ago. And so I did feel like I took my kind of foot off the gas a little bit, which is kind of funny because most people are like, oh my gosh, you exploded this year. And I'm like, really? I don't feel like I was doing as much as I could have been doing. But when it comes to building my list, I think my focus is going to be in not just building lists for vanity metrics. And so, if anything, there's a focus that I'm moving into on quality and connection. And so, I'm comfortable with culling my list, culling all of my platforms, removing people who are just kind of like sitting back and watching and not engaging. And that's scary to some people, but I actually really like that idea, and focusing on depth, quality, connection, and then moving them to my list. But ultimately, if they don't become either a buyer or don't engage with something or open my emails, I don't want people to stay on my list, because then I'm just adding to the noise of their inbox. So I don't feel like my focus has been in building my list as much as it could have been this year. But I will say my focus on depth of list to buyer or engager to fill in the blank, that all of those things are going to be a major focus this year. Everything else kind of
Yeah.
happened on accident.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think it's good to have this like on social media, so you don't only do these posts, right? Then it's gonna be kind of obvious you're always coming out with this, but when you do, then it's gonna be more effective as well. But also, like, of course, if you're going live and you have kind of organically, kind of in the video, you're dropping some links, or you mentioning it like where people can get the freebie or something. That's kind of cool. I mean, that works still. That works really well to do that, and I think you should do that as well when you're doing a launch or when you're doing something. Just kind of drop that, and you can grow your list pretty quickly. But obviously, all the other posts doesn't always have to be about, hey, go sign up to my thing, because that's not gonna work as well all the time in that case. I think. Do you think that's a great way to put it, so people kind of find that balance between kind of growing the list, but also kind of having that kind of other things as well on social, where it's more about kind of what you did, what personality and stuff like that as well?
Yeah, so I will say that there are some people who believe everything should have a call to action, everything should have a sale. If you haven't upset someone by noon each day, you're not marketing hard enough. And I will say that I think that there's a balance to be had between the two. If
Yeah.
you're not building relationships and recognizing that the people on the other side of the computers are humans, you fall into the call to action trap, where you're constantly calling people to action and never taking the time to slow down and connect. So while it's not necessarily bad to have call to actions regularly, you better make sure that you're delivering consistent value, building relationships, caring enough to reply to comments if you're going to be putting a lot of call to actions out there.
Absolutely. So, I mean, this has been amazing. I think if people just implement a few of these things we have talked about today, they can obviously increase their organic reach, and they can do well with this. You can, I mean, if you have an audience right now, this is a low-hanging fruit, right? If you don't have one, kind of get started, implement some of this, use it as a complement, or use that as a way to get started. Go into other Facebook groups that we mentioned as well to kind of start doing some of this, and then you can maybe have even your own and start, leveraging your own platform. But this has been amazing. I'm gonna steal some of this as well. I know you're gonna have a great freebie as well for everyone that they can download. I'll link that up. But anything else, anywhere else people should connect with you online?
Well, if you want to see my latest shenanigans, head on over to TikTok. I'm the Mrs. Peterson,
I
all
know you
E's
would
and a
say
D.
that. Yeah, that's awesome.
It holds me accountable. I end up doing crazy stuff just for the TikTok.
Yeah.
But I am the Mrs. Peterson on all platforms. Facebook is my favorite. TikTok is a close second. And Instagram stories is where you can kind of see what I'm up to every single day. So feel free to connect, send me a message. And we do our best to reply to every single message.
That's awesome. Do you have any final words for everyone who's watching and listening into this as well before we wrap this up?
Oh my gosh, stop listening and go take action. You're probably learning so much in this entire summit. Take action. The difference between the people who have become successful and those who just keep learning and waiting until they're ready is that the people who took action achieve success in the time that other people are still creating their business plan. So write down all of the notes that you've taken from this and create a list of the most important things. Go do it. Like, don't wait another second. You'll never feel ready. You'll never feel qualified. Find a mentor who can support you if you need that kind of encouragement, and just do it. Like, go for it.
Yes, and that's kind of my words of wisdom as well. Go take action. Act before you're ready. That's what I always say. Just do it. And leave a comment below. Leave your biggest takeaway from this one. What are you going to implement? Did you resonate with something Rachel shared here? In that case, you can leave that. Connect with her. We put also the link to the freebie, so you can get some more strategies as well here that we didn't have time to kind of cover everything. We went in depth to some, but we'll definitely make sure you have some extra ones there if you run out of strategies. But the most important thing is that you actually take action on this, guys, and go out there and do it. With that being said, I'll talk to you guys very soon. Ciao for now. Bye bye.